Today is Sunday, January 31st, the last day of the month of January. And so, Genesis chapter 31 is the saga of the relationship, the strained relationship between Jacob and his uncle slash father in law, Laban. And Jacob has helped Laban prosper, and Jacob has labored for Laban for 20 years. And we learn all this, and we've got a little bit of repeating. So he explained to his wives what he had done and that he needed to flee. He needs to leave town and take his family with him. So he piles everybody up on camels and puts the flocks out in front. And I mean, it sounds like a three-ring circus hitting the road, but they go all together and they get to they get as far as they can until Laban 3 days later finds out that Jacob had fled and taken his daughters and grandchildren and flocks, which Laban still believes are his, with him. And so Laban promised to give him some flocks, some livestock, but he reneged on it, and that's what he says. He keeps saying, it seems like this is a fluid negotiation for wages for Jacob, because he says 10 times he changed his wages. So he's really mistreating Jacob, and Jacob's trying to do right in the eyes of God, and Jacob has been prosperous because God is with him and he's being prosperous. So anywhere he goes, he'll be fine. But he said he was told in a dream to return to his father Isaac's home, and so he took his wives and his children with him, and they traveled, and then Laban catches up to them, and they have this altercation. Now, caveat, right before they left, Rachel sneaks in to Laban's tent and steals his gods. Now, I'm not sure what they are. They're like golden statues. They may not mean anything to Jacob and Rachel, because they don't worship those gods, but they might be valuable somehow. And what we're led to believe, and it doesn't say this explicitly, but we're led to believe is that Rachel had put the gods in her camel pack, in her the thing that hangs on a saddlebag for a camel, and then it kind of sounds like she's sitting on them in her tent, and she's sitting there, and she's like, "Father, I can't get up because I'm having my menstrual cycle," and I think she is faking it and sitting on those idols, those gods that she took, so that because he couldn't find them, and so Jacob's like, and Jacob doesn't even know she took them. So Jacob's like, "What? I didn't take your gods. I'm not sinned against you. Why are you accusing me of this?" And so they make a covenant, and Jacob is fond of putting up rocks, right? Because he did that with the Bethel when he had the dream and the ladder and the angels. And so he puts a pile of rocks, and they call it in this translation, which is the NIV, they call it a heap. That's good. This is a heap, and here this heap is here, and this pillar, and I have set that between you and me, and the heap is a witness to that all that goes past you and me, to harm you, that I will not harm you, and you will not harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor and the God of their father judge between us. Because, of course, Laban is Nahor's grandson, and Jacob is Abraham's grandson. So I think Laban is the great grandson. I don't know if they're in the same. I don't think they're in the same generation. Well, yeah, Jacob and Laban would be in the same exact generation because Isaac and Rebecca would be in the same generation as Laban, and Isaac is over a generation more. So yes, they're in the same. They're both their great grandfather's the same guy. So they swear by him, and the early next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them, and he left and returned home, scot free. They're done. So that is the chapter. That's chapter 31, and it continues on from there. So they've left Laban's household, and now they're starting off on their own, and we get to see what happens with Jacob and his offspring. So stay tuned for the February 1st, which will be the 32nd chapter. So it's going to be a little more difficult to count chapter versus date, because maybe that's not a concern for you, but it's a little bit of a concern for me, because it's been so easy to be like, January 31st, chapter 31. And now it's going to be February 1st, chapter 32, February 2nd, chapter 33. I'll have to just commit that to memory. The steel trap, it just keeps everything. So don't set the bar too high. You guys have a beautiful and wonderful Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow for the first day of the week, the first day of the month, and the 32nd chapter of Genesis, where we get the familiar story of Jacob wrestling the angel. All right.